Another shot saved by Stover. Centering pass to score! They take a 1-0 lead.
Welcome back to The Swoop, BG Falcon Media's live sports talk show. It's the week of love with Valentine's Day on Friday, which also happens to be the first day of BGSU's baseball season. But before we get there, I'm your host, Chaz McNeil, and I'm joined by two very talented sports analysts from the Falcon Media Sports Network, Lucas Kleinmeyer and Ben Korak. Guys, with baseball season coming back, which spring sport are you most excited about with it just right on the horizon?
Yeah, for me, Chaz, it's BGSU baseball. I mean, big season last year. I'm interested to see how it can recapture that magic they had in 2024.
Not a spring sport, y'all, but hockey's got playoffs coming up, and I gotta reference my guys out there on the ice. It's gonna be fun coming up on the Mason Cup playoffs for CCHA.
Good that you mentioned that, because it's no secret BGSU hockey has been one of the stronger programs during the winter sports period, but despite splitting against St. Thomas this past weekend, the Falcons actually moved up in the CCHA standings to third, and with the Mason Cup playoffs scheduled March 7th to 9th, BGSU is currently in line for a home playoff game with a 0.591 points percentage. The final two CCHA regular season series for the Orange and Brown come against Bemidji State on the road February 21st and 22nd before finishing with a home series against Lake Superior State on February 28th and March 1st. Following their 2-1 loss against St. Thomas on Saturday, BGSU Hockey's head coach Dennis Williams had this to say as the team is staring down the Mason Cup playoffs.
Over the next 3 weeks, we're hoping to be peaking at our highest level, at that point. So these little hiccups or these losses, they're just little potholes in the road. Just pave them over. You got to keep going, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I think our guys will be much better from it.
That was one of the first times I had heard from Willie, and I know, Ben, you know him pretty well. That guy is just a hockey knower.
Yeah, he really is. He's a great dude, and he's really got this team in a chokehold. He's got them doing exactly what they want to do. He's got them in a great spot in the CCHA, and we should take a look at the standings right here to see where they're sitting in the CCHA overall. But they really are in a great spot right now. They're sitting in the home playoff in that third spot. They got some very good teams ahead of them, but they've got some teams that they are certainly better than behind. I like the way the direction this team is headed for sure.
Indeed, and they've had a couple of players really step up this year as well. Ryan O'Hara had a lot of assists before 2025, the calendar year began. This now, in this past January and February, Ryan O'Hara has really stepped up and been huge. Brody Waters as well, been huge as well. The defense, Dalton Norris, Gustav Schoenberg have also been very consistent as well. Dennis Williams has his team playing at the right time. Yeah. Ben mentioned it a little bit there. They're playing the right time towards the end of February going into Mason Cup play.
This is really a team that it's seemingly they have everything together, but Ben, you know this team best. What are some of the current problems that this team is facing?
The main one that I see is the goaltender situation. Christian Stover against Northern Michigan the second game, got hurt in the third period, still got credit for the win, but he did not even dress against St. Thomas. Thankfully, Cole Moore is very good off the bench for Bowling Green. He was the starter the second half of last year. He stepped up and played very well. But that's where the question mark lies, is who's going to be in the net for the Falcons. Cole Moore hasn't been great this season. Had a real good series against St. Thomas. We'll see if he can do that long term, but you got to hope that you don't have to, and Hot Stove comes back between the red pipes for VG.
Yeah, that would be mine if I had to pick two as well. But I would like to see how this team's going to match up against those top teams in CCHA. The Minnesota States to Augustanas. Those are teams that gave Bowling Green a little bit of trouble in the regular season. And, if they make it far in the Mason Cup, those are teams they're going to have to play again if they want to win the whole thing. So I'd be interested to see how they can match up to those if they meet them once again down the road.
Well, speaking of the Mason Cup, let's see it, because the standings right now in the CCHA, you can see them on your screen. Bowling Green's sitting right there at third. You've got St. Thomas 2 below them at fifth, a team they beat, and then you have Lake Superior State all the way at the bottom. So they're in the top 6. That's still a pretty tough opponent down the line for the Falcons.
Yeah, they are. And the good thing that you can see there is that differential between Michigan Tech and St. Thomas. That's a 100-point differential almost right there. And that's really separating those top 4 teams from those bottom couple of teams that could work their way in. Bowling Green really, they control the rest of their season. They control whether they get that home playoff. They really have to go on an epic downturn to fall out of that spot. They got to just stay ahead of Michigan Tech. If they keep winning their games, they'll be in real great shape. And St. Thomas and Lake Superior State won't be able to catch up.
So now, switching over to softball, they had a successful week. BGSU came out of last weekend 2-3, which already puts the team a third of the way to their 2024 season win total. The Falcons have already shown early improvements this year from 2024. Under new head coach Michelle Gardner, BGSU opened their season on a loss on Friday against USC Upstate before winning 2 straight against Monmouth, which gave the Orange and Brown their first winning record since mid-May of 2022. BG's Bats also woke up early, currently leading the MAC in home runs with 5, while sitting second in doubles with 7. And really, softball's been a program they've had their ups and downs. Last year, I got to say, it was a catastrophic year for the program. Now they put a lot of those pieces together. This is a program that could turn into a wagon.
I think catastrophic's putting it lightly a little bit. I mean, this was a program that didn't have a structure last year. I'm just being completely honest. And, new head coach Michelle Gardner in her first year has provided that structure. She's provided them a new energy, more motivation, just positivity around this program. And already 5 games into the season, they have a third of their wins that they have, and they only had 6 last year. So for me, just big picture right now, it's still early in the season, 5 games. I'm happy for the program that they had that structure, and they have something to look forward to and to build on for the rest of the season. Whereas felt like kind of last couple of seasons they were kind of just building an engine and a plane while flying, and they just were kind of directionless.
Yeah, for sure. I have some improvements listed out here that I'd certainly like to hit on. 42 extra base hits in 2024. That's under 1 per game. In 2025, they've already got almost 2.5 extra base hits per game. Their homers have gone up. They already have 5 in 2024 through their 5 games. Only 8 homers in 2025, and that was Regan Williamson, who was your star slugger, had 6 of those. And then 5 players with a plus 300 batting average, plus 900 OPS, plus 600 slugging, and plus 300 on-base percentage. So you're looking at about 5 players there that are doing the most of the offensive damage, but that's a really great thing to see, especially from a pitching-centered coach that Gardner came in and made an offensive stride. Now she can sit back maybe and look at the pitching staff a little bit more, and I really like the way this team's going. I think they played very well against Monmouth, USC, Upstate, and Akron especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, I mean, it's way too early in the season to actually be talking about this, but do you see this as a team that can make a run, maybe get to that MAC tournament all the way back in the summer?
Yeah, I think they can. Okay. I think that's going to be a huge turn for the program, especially if they can get there. Still a tall order. I wouldn't say you're going to be a top 3 seed. You might barely scrape in, but that would be an absolute win for this program. If you get 10 wins after a 6-win season last year, that would be a win for the program and a win for the first year of Gardner. Just looking at the rest of the non-conference, there's probably 3 or 4 games you can win in there. Tulsa, Wichita State, Illinois, Chicago, and Indiana, Indy are certainly winnable games. You should probably be able to take a couple there, and if you do, you'll be sitting at right around the same mark that you had wins last season before conference play. It's a great start.
Yeah, just going based off what he said, a lot of their non-conference schedule to finish out's not great. Oklahoma, UConn, Indiana, Coastal Carolina, those are opponents that
4-time defending national champion.
Yeah, looks tough.
I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but it's all about experience, and it's all about playing opponents that are better than you, and to get the experience to make you better when it comes into MAC play, because that's what matters. MAC play is what matters for the softball team, and like Ben said, if you can even get to 10 wins, double-digit wins this year, that's a huge success from what this program was 2 years ago.
So now switching from one bat and ball sport to another, BGSU baseball is finally back, and to help us break down all of our excitement is Falcon Media Sports Network's baseball beat, Tyler Cavalitz. Tyler, what has you most excited about the 2025 season?
Well, guys, of course, last year's team had so much success. Shattered about 12 program records, might have been a little more. We couldn't even keep track of all of them. They lost a lot of pieces, but they also added a lot. I'm just most excited to see if they can continue to carry over any of the momentum from last year, because you got a chance with Kyle Halleck leading this team to really build one of the best eras of BGSU baseball in the program's history if you can continue carrying over success to this year and even future seasons after.
So Tyler, you mentioned the success. There's been a lot of overturn in this program. Who are some of those new guys that will step up into this program and help maintain the success?
I think first, he's not new, but the main guy everyone's going to look for this year is TJ Tackett's. He's a guy that really got better as the year went on. He's a high on-base percentage, big bat. He's 6'5", looking to see if he can get more power. They talked about him wanting to get more air under the ball off the bat this year, try to get more balls in the air, try to generate more power for him. If he can become a major power bat, it's going to be tremendous for this team. And then in terms of new guys, there's a few guys you're looking at. Ty Roeder's one that I'm looking at on the pitching side. I think he has a chance to be the Sunday starter for this team. I think he's going to be a very big arm for this team by the end of the season. And you have a bunch of incoming transfers in the field that are going to help. One that sticks out is Gunnar Antillion. I predict him to be the starting day shortstop for this team. I think he's going to be a really good glove in the field, and we'll see what he can add at the plate with his bat.
Tyler, for you, I mean, it's no secret. Expectations are high for this program, and this is a team that, you know, won 17 straight conference games last year. How does this team capture that magic they had last year and reach those expectations this season?
Well, they all talked about taking it one game at a time, but I think the difference between this team this year and the team last year is this team knows that they can reach the success that they did last season. They know that they are a group of good ball players, and I think them getting the experience in the MAC tournament is going to help them this year, especially if they can, you know, of course, we're hoping they get back to the MAC tournament. I think they know what to expect now. I think they know what success feels like and what it takes to get there, and I think they're fully focused on winning the MAC tournament championship on top of repeating as regular season champions. So I think just the taste of success from last season, knowing what it takes to get there, is just going to be a huge benefit for this team this year.
Ben, you got anything to ask Tyler?
Yeah, I do, Tyler. What does success failure look like for the BGSU baseball team this year? Obviously, a historic season last year. What do you look for do you think they're going to make a step forward? Do you think they're going to take a step back? Where do you see a successful season being for Halleck and the Falcons?
I think their bar of success for themselves is going to be to win a tournament championship. That's what everyone on the team is going to be aiming for. It's hard to call it a failure if you don't reach that, especially if you do repeat as regular season champions. But I think in the end, this team needs to win a championship, and I think that MAC tournament championship is going to be the crown jewel for this program.
Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to have your insight, and I know both you and I are very excited for the start of baseball season, so thank you for joining us in the satellite studio, the nest, if you want to call it, if you will, but thanks again.
Of course.
For maybe the last time this semester, baseball will not be mentioned because they haven't played, but it is indeed Athlete of the Week time, and Janaea Donahue is Falcon Media Sports Network's Athlete of the Week. The freshman Donahue started in both of BGSU women's basketball games last week, with her last outing coming against Arkansas State being her best. Against the Red Wolves on Saturday, the guard went 8 of 9 from the field, putting up 19 points, which was her career high, as well as a career high in rebounds with 10. Donahue started the first 5 games of the season for the Falcons before coming off the bench for the next 11. She has now started 4 games in a row. Donahue's selection also means that we have finally added an addition to our correct prediction wall, because Sam Momeyer from last week picked Donahue correctly, which means she is going on the wall, and wow.
Well, Chaz, we actually do have one more thing we want to add to the wall.
Oh, okay.
Finally, you were up there for way too long, and I'm happy Sam won.
And you know what's funny? You guys have been on here the most out of all the hosts, and still are not on the board. So I'll wear my paper bag.
All I see is that 1 for 11. All I see is that 1 for 11.
That's all I see as well.
So 0 for 7 for you guys. But you know what? To read more about to read more about Donahue, check out Athlete of the Week on VGFalconMedia.com. Now it's time for one of the most contentious parts of the Swoop, our Athlete of the Week projections. And I quite literally lost by 1 vote last week, so we can only go up. I should be on that board twice, but I'm going to go first. Give me DJ Newman. And I'm telling you right now, he is the face of Falcon baseball right now. He's finally healthy, coming back off of injury. A preseason All-American, top 100 in the country. He is a stud, and I think he's going to ball out against Middle Tennessee State.
Not a bad prediction for sure. I'm going with Erica Porter. Dominant on the boards, had a team high 11 rebounds against Arkansas State, averaging 10.3 points per game. Last time Bowling Green played Central Michigan, she scored in double figures in the 4th quarter. And guess who they play Saturday? Central Michigan. I think she's in for a big weekend.
You know, Chaz, it's really easy to hit on these when you get the first pick every week, but I digress. I'm going to take another BG baseball player. I'm going to take TJ Tackett. I think he's going to play center field. I think he's truly a five-tool player. Adding to that some plate discipline, some power and speed dynamic there as well. I think Tackett is a real good player and going to be key for Bowling Green this season.
And I really like both of those picks. I think Erica Porter going up against the old team, that's a good pull. I think TJ Tackett isn't going to win this week, but he will be an athlete of the week sometime during the
So what if he
semester.
does? What if he does win next week?
If he wins
Are
next
we
week,
going to replay this clip back?
we can
I think we
replay
should.
it. I'll wear a Frida costume for all I care. It is not going to be TJ Tackett this week, and I love the player.
Okay, well, we'll quote you by that. I like TJ Tackett. I like his combination of power and speed. I like that he's going to play center field. I think he's going to be an all-three-game guy this weekend against Middle Tennessee. I think he's going to be anchoring that power part of the lineup. Had 4 home runs, 3 doubles last year. One of the better on-base guys on the team as well. Took a step forward late in the season. I really like the way he plays. I think he's a breakout. It's certainly, like Tyler Cavlett said before.
That's very true. But you know who's a better slugger? DJ Newman. You know who's also a better pitcher, because he actually is pitching, DJ Newman, and that's why I'm picking him. But, you know, we're going to go back and forth about this all day.
He is coming off an injury, too, after
That is
last
true.
season, too. And I think for him personally, but also the program's sake, I hope he hits the season running and is just as spectacular this year as he was last year.
And this is also a program that had Nathan Archer last year, a guy who was drafted. I think that we could see Newman get picked in the MLB draft this year. There was already talk about him last year before getting injured, but that's my pick.
Pretty good.
All right, so now our own Ben Korak, sitting right to my left, had the chance to create a creature feature, featuring the Bleacher Creatures. That's coming up on The Swoop. Stay with us.
Welcome back to this section of The Swoop. My name is Ben Korak, and I'll be talking to some of the most high-profile fans here in Bowling Green related to BGSU hockey. I'm going to be talking today to the Bleacher Creatures. I was about to introduce you guys, but I'll let you guys do it yourself. Why don't we start with Alex and work down the line?
I'm Alex. I'm a junior here at BG.
I'm Kendall. I'm a senior here.
And I'm Jacob. I'm also a senior.
Cool. So I don't know anything about Bleacher Creatures, so I'm gonna allow you guys to tell me a lot about it. So why don't you explain? One of you explain like what the Bleacher Creatures are, what you guys do at hockey games. That's all I know is that you're at the hockey games.
Me first. The Bleacher Creatures are just a bunch of people. We originated in 78. Sorry, and. Just a bunch of guys who are really passionate about hockey. Originally, they wore outfits much like the Sick Dude today. And and then they kind of fell apart. And then we were refounded in 2012 and going strong ever since.
Yeah.
And we're just here to watch some hockey and cheer on our team. We love them, so.
Yeah. So the group of you guys, how many people are we talking here? Like how many members of Bleacher Creatures are there participating at every game?
I think we just initiated 12 other creatures. I think we had about 8 before we initiated them, so we have around 20 to 22 members as of right now. But we have a lot of alumni who still come to our games, who come and say hey to us. But as of right now, we have about 20-ish active members.
You know, I've watched you guys from the broadcast booth a lot of the times, and I've seen some of the stuff you guys do, and it's pretty cool in my opinion. Can you, I have a couple of questions here about traditions that you guys do. So I do know, and I think a lot of people know the newspaper tradition at the beginning of games. Can somebody describe the newspaper tradition and why you do it?
So I'm one of the main people that are always there before the game. I'm always setting up. And so it basically originated, you know, we don't like the other team. They're awful. So it's like we'd rather be reading old news than seeing them get brought onto the ice. And that's the whole shtick.
Yeah. Well, we heard right there from one of the props that you guys bring,
Yes.
which was my next question. I see a lot of props. I see a lot of helmets, a lot of signs. Can you talk to us about some of that stuff that you guys bring to games?
Like I mentioned earlier, we used to wear costumes, like the original creatures wore costumes. And, you know, we kind of have that sort of thing, like a bunch of us all wear the same kind of outfit. Last year we started making our own jerseys, which we have some in the works again this year. And we just kind of want to keep that tradition alive. The big orange skull, Ziggy, was one of the original masks that one of the original creatures wore. And I mean, we constantly have like a coming in and out of props and outfits. We have a whole bag full of old costumes that are there to be reused, but nobody has really claimed any so far as of yet.
Cool. Yeah. Do you guys have any favorite props that you like to hold up? Favorite props that people have besides Richard?
So Richard is with me at every single game. I like to bang him on the glass whenever the refs are being stupid. But
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
We have a dry erase board, which we hold up. That's always a big hit with the fans. We always write random things on there. Usually in between periods, we'll write random stuff, and that's always a big hit with everyone in the student section. It goes pretty well.
The last home series of the year, Lake Superior State, on the 28th and the 1st, February 28th and March 1st. So we'll certainly see you guys then. And thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So we will send it back now to the Swoop desk where Chaz and the rest of the crew are going to head into our wrap-up.
Welcome back to the wrap-up, where we update you on many of the sports happening on and off campus in the next week. Bowling Green men's basketball will look to add to their 2-game winning streak with a home game against the Ohio Bobcats on Tuesday at 7 before traveling to Buffalo, New York on Saturday to face off against the Buffalo Bulls at 2 p.m. Falcon baseball hits the mound for the first time this season with a series against Middle Tennessee State University in Tennessee on Friday at 4 and Saturday and Sunday at 2. BG women's basketball get their week off before taking on Central Michigan at the Stro at Saturday at 2. And gymnastics wraps up our schedule with a round of action against Western Michigan on Sunday, February 16th at 2 p.m. at the Stro Center. Now we close things out on a rough note, because on Saturday the Dog Days came early with a dog show at the halftime of BGSU men's basketball versus Coastal Carolina.
Aww.
Right?
That's so cool. This has always been one of my favorite
between the
halftime
legs
shows.
too.
And this has always been one of my favorite halftime shows for during the basketball games. This guy's awesome.
Also, that brown dog specifically stared me right in the eyes before it went out on the court.
I didn't know that they did this. This is a really cool.
Dude, they got some good halftime performances like during these basketball games for sure. They don't mess around.
I was talking to Van Wright, big BGSU name, during this game. He said that he prefers the jump ropers over the dogs.
What?
Yeah. The jump ropers are a cool one. We don't have footage, obviously, but the dogs, I think they're here to stay. People love the dogs, but I think that's all we've got for today's show. With that, have a phenomenal week. Don't forget to check out bgfalconmedia.com for more features, recaps, and more. Be sure to swoop in next time right here on The Swoop.